Me Kudo. Greetings to everybody, all Africans watching this video. We are His Imperial Majesty, Ahosu Agelo Bagan Agbawi I, the Ganlodo Hosu of the monarchy of Ganlodo. That's what Ganlodo Hosu is. Ahosu means king, male monarch. In the Aja language, Ganlodo is the name of our monarchy. So in the Aja culture, Hosu or Hosi, if it was a queen, is added to the end of the name of the monarchy. So, for instance, there's a city in the ancestral home of my people is a city called Hevier in southern Benin. They have what is called Hevier Hosu. So Hosu is added to the end of the name of the city, the African name of the city. So, of course, our website, GANLODO Kingdom.com. That is for the monarchy. Our publications are at Quilombo Restoration and Healing. The website to that address is the web address to that is restorationhealing.com. So we know this video is going to be a little controversial for people. We know that there's this phase going on now where people are becoming more aware of their Africanness. Some are on the periphery. Some are, very few are going in deeper, but some will on the deeper end and actually want to live African ways of life and learn how to do that while in the midst of this beast. And so some do it through certain black holidays. And so someone would say, well, why say something about these black holidays if this is helping them gain consciousness or making them woke, as they're calling it these days? For one thing, is we don't see any functionality coming from it. It's just a bunch of memes being shared on Facebook. But the way of life of most of our people, even when they become so-called woke, does not change. So this video is about Juneteenth and how actually Juneteenth runs counter to what we call ReAfrikanization. Now, what is ReAfrikanization? ReAfrikanization is the process of becoming that which you used to be. So re-Africanize, right? It shows up in your language, the clothes you wear, the foods you eat, the process of your relationships, your heterosexual relationships. The way we do relationships is different from the European model, different from other people's model. How you think, what language you think in. Now that's a tough one for a lot of people, but it's a goal. How do you deal with the enemy without the non-African enemy? ReAfrikanization teaches you how to navigate that. So let's give a little history of Juneteenth real quick, right? And we got jotted some notes down here. So, and before Juneteenth, we have, let's just get into the history leading up to Juneteenth. So in April 1865, Robert E. Lee, many schools are named after Alabama, after Robert E. Lee. I remember we were in high school in Mobile, Alabama, and we would play. Well, I didn't play football, but the school, our school played Robert E. Lee. I remember, I think maybe even, yeah. But anyway, so Robert E. Lee surrenders, thus ending the Civil War, right? The war amongst brothers, because that's what it was. So now, that's key, because that was in April, right? General Granger Major General Granger came out to Texas 2 months later, June 19th, to Galveston, Texas, and told the Africans that they, the war was over and that they were free now. So we already see one pink elephant in the room. He made this declaration called, I think, General Order Number 3 on June 19th, 1865. Hence, Juneteenth, right? That should be pink elephant number 2 for you. He gave the order. The executive, not the executive order, general order, right? And it was a general order because it was by military. So, this is when the Africans in Texas found out that the war was over. Now, pink elephant number, we're going to run out, we're going to forget the numbers after a while. I don't know, we on number 4, 3 or 4 pink elephants. It was 2.5 years earlier that the Emancipation Proclamation was issued to, it just issued, and it said that African people were free. So that's January 1st, 1863. Big pink elephant right there, right? So why, what took so long for it to get out to Texas? So we jotted a few things down. Here's let's see. Here's a key thing that you all need to know, those that believe in this Juneteenth thing and whatever. Because you got to know your history. You got to know what you're doing. And to know what you're doing, oftentimes you need to know the history, right? So many of when the 1863 proclamation came down, slammed down on the cracker, the Tubob, the Yovo, caveman and woman, when that came down on them, they shifted their captive Africans over to Texas. And one reason they did that because there wasn't a big Union presence in Texas. They weren't focusing on Texas like that. So these Yovo, Tubobs, crackers, they got smart. They said, well, let's go over here where there's not really much focus. So they packed up everything, including their captive Africans and their Indian scouts, the ones that used to hunt us down, because a lot of y'all want to be Cherokee and Blackfoot and all that. You don't know that a lot of times these Africans were hunted down. 90% of the time they were hunted down by so-called Indians because they knew the territory, right? And quiet as kept, so it seems, many of these so-called Indians held Africans in captivity also. Anyway, so now all of these so-called slave masters didn't go with their captives. So they like brokered out their captive Africans to other plantations in Texas so they could stay put, because they some of them, especially because it was a war going on, they couldn't foot the bill of moving everything out there. So they sent their captive Africans out there kind of as a loan, because they never thought they was going to lose the war. They was like, well, as soon as it's over with, I'm going to get my captive Africans back. So a lot of them didn't go with them. So that should be known right there. And obviously Texas ignored the proclamation. So we don't have to even delve into that pink elephant right there. Now, why did Juneteenth have to be? Why did they take so long to go out there? First of all, it was that lack of presence out there. But when the war was over, it still took them 2 months to go out there. So even Yovo theories say that, and it's obvious to us, they wanted these Yovo African captive owners to enjoy another harvest, another cotton harvest. So they still were working with each other, even in war. Now, on to the biggest pink elephant in the room. Why celebrate a day that was given to you by your captors? This is not a day where Africans, why not celebrate, what is it, October 22nd, something like that, when Nat Turner offed about 60 Yovo, 60 crackers, 60 their children, the women, and the male slave owners, captive owners. Why not make that a big day? Why that's not a big thing? Anything for a barbecue though. Now, here's another pink elephant that a lot of people don't know, so it maybe not a pink elephant per se. Maybe it's a small elephant, regular elephant, small baby elephant. But even when Granger gave that declaration or that general order number 3 on June 19th, many of those Africans still were not freed. So the title of quote unquote slavery was gone, right? But many of them continued to work on those same plantations, and they were treated obviously the same way. You think they're going to treat them different just because of June 19th? So to think that you're celebrating the day when all of our ancestors got free is incorrect. That was a local Galveston thing, and it was done by the mouth and the order of white folks. This is not something that African people came up with. So how does this go anti to ReAfrikanization, anti to, let's say, even black collective power, empowerment? Words and actions are power. What you give words and action to, that's what grows. That which you feed, it grows. Right? So many of our people, they talk spirituality, and they talk a lot of religion too. They don't understand spirit and the power of generating something over time. There are ancestors in that other realm that's like, no, y'all messing up. Y'all giving power to the Yovo. The Yovo told you you was free on June 19th. That's nothing to celebrate. White man told me, I was a good boy today. So every time this day rolled around, I'm gonna celebrate it. Because white man, white woman, they told me I was good. White man told me I was free. So I'm gonna celebrate that. Keep that in mind. That's the big pink elephant. Even if you don't understand the energy concept, the spirit concept, you're celebrating a day that they still gave you. There's no independence, no sovereignty in that. Now, I'm not trying to take away people's joy and gathering up, but there are other ways to celebrate being African, being African American if you want to call yourself, being black if you want to call yourself that. There are other ways for that. 1968, March, the Republic of New Africa was found. New African People's Organization founded. And they declared that, their goal was to get reparations in the form of land. Celebrate that day, the day they did that. If you're not going to be coming to full African culture, celebrate that. Celebrate Nat Turner's birthday. Make it big like you make Juneteenth. Because you better believe Juneteenth is coming up, and it's going to be plenty of barbecuing and beer buying and liquor buying that day. Very few of it is going to be bought from an African-owned store. Think about it. At some point you have to stop being the cultural children of the world. especially when you used to rule the world. The Pyramid of Giza, the Pyramid of Giza, is the first skyscraper in the world, dating back 6,000 years. And I know that's older than most of the timeline that y'all know, but that's what, forgive us, we didn't mean to say y'all like that, but many of y'all know. But it's older than what the Yovo originally wrote. Great civilizations, cultures like Oyo, amongst the Yoruba, the Aja cultures, the Ewe people, great cultures, powerful philosophical cultures. We go from that to celebrating a day given to us by a former so-called slave master. People are laughing at you when you don't know it. And the world is laughing at African people because these people, they may be our external enemies, but they're celebrating a day given to the day that man came and told them that they were free. Somebody told them they were free. They're not celebrating an insurrection, a liberation move. They're not celebrating that. They're celebrating the day the man told the people in Galveston now. Keep that in mind, that was in Galveston, and many of them still remain in captivity. So what day do you celebrate? Because once you know that fact, because many people think they're celebrating the day that like this was it, this was the last day. That wasn't the last day. This went on for some time. And you got to look at the fact that the Union soldiers, who were supposed to be the enemy of these Texas Confederates, gave the Confederate plantation owners more time to harvest cotton. That's an economic move. Because a lot of that cotton was going to England. So that was a cash cow. And Lincoln was in on that. Yeah. Do your research. Do your research. Juneteenth is counterproductive to ReAfrikanization. You're putting a spirit out there that says, hey, world, hey, ancestors, I am docile. And some people, they dress up in African clothing on Juneteenth and all that, that's null and void. Because what you're doing, you're giving energy to a defeatist mentality. White man said I was free, then okay, I'm free. Look into history and look at some of these, look at the German rebellion. It's called that because of the area, not Germantown, but it was in Louisiana where these Africans freed themselves. Celebrate that. Why is that? Why that's not celebrated? It's kind of confusing. So imagine what the world is looking at you like, wow, we got nothing to worry about from them people. And that's why the Chinese are taking over now. The Chinese are in your place right now. By all intents and purposes, by this time, especially according to the African oracles, we were supposed to be in a much better position of empowerment. Not no wokeness and all that. I'm talking about true empowerment, close to sovereignty, ownership. The same thing the Chinese are doing, we're supposed to be doing. We talking about going way past this woke stuff and this conscious stuff. But because we have chosen once again to get sidetracked by those things that de-empower us, here we are. Here we are. So hopefully somebody will get this message in full and see, because this thing about Juneteenth is actually meant to also make you think more about other areas of life where we're giving energy, where we think we're doing positive, we think we're doing the right thing, but we're actually devaluing ourselves and our ancestors' legacies when we do this. As soon better.